they went to the queen to tell her her subjects had no bread.
Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of the Peasants Perspective. We're so glad you made it. We know we're 2 minutes late. We had to do a full reboot right before we started. Exactly. Not AI, folks. AI would have started on the dot like we do most days. We're getting better. We're getting better. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll give you guys a couple minutes to load in because you didn't have like I guess when you like start the stream without going live, it gives them a chance. It's better than it is.
May that be your thought for the day.
Oh, that's your thought for the day. Oh, why are we not? We got like nobody here. What's going on?
I don't know. And then I don't know. The chat's not working because I've been trying to chat and it's not coming through.
Oh. Wonder what that's all about. Let's see if it's any different if we go on into it old school. Rumble. Oh, pop out chat. Does that change anything? Somebody chat. Keep chapping. Muddy Easel says, I'm here. Fuddy Easel. I'm
sure they're there.
Chat.
I just can't see them.
Everybody's seeing chat but us. Because why?
I don't know.
What's that lock up there? Is that lock something up at the top?
No, that's private.
That's private? Well, all right. Well, that's fun. All right. Well, I'll kind of keep an eye on the chat here and
all right.
See how's the best way.
Yeah, we got 20 people watching right this second.
Psh, we're killing it. This is like one of the biggest shows on the internet at this point. It's 6:30 a.m. All right, give me just a second.
Signal is poor.
Signal is poor, whatever that means. Okay, well, I got the pop out chat, so I'm watching CIA operative, and that's what he's admitted now openly. He's like, one of a handful of people that are basically immune from prosecution because they're asked by our government to, go and talk to the shady people.
Right. So he's kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein almost. He's just not the sex kitten type.
He says specifically they wanted him to be Jeffrey Epstein 2.0 when Jeffrey Epstein went down.
Right.
But he saw at this point, this is after this, and he put the pieces together. Remember, I was introduced to Patrick Byrne as the Overstock.com CEO on the day he suddenly resigned. Okay, his Overstock.com did something special. Just forget that ever happened.
I can tell you what's really happened. This all started as a coup around Thanksgiving 2015 by Barack Obama, James Comey, and John Brennan against either Hillary or Trump or any Republican. I was part of it. It's not a theory. It all began before Trump even came down it frankly began in February 2015, before Trump came down an escalator in June. This has all been a coup that was started by those people, but they didn't do it on their own.
This Obama and his collection, globalists, BlackRock, Muslim Brotherhood, China, this great alliance against America, and they've been planning a color revolution the whole time, and now it's come out. So I don't think Barack Obama's very happy right now, Patrick Byrne.
I can tell you what's really happened.
Of course, Barack Obama's not very happy, right? Because this Epstein nonsense and the Russiagate nonsense is one set of nonsense.
Right.
It's the same people. Let me give Steve Bannon was the double agent. He's the guy who went into their camp, little sleazeball, right? And they opened up to him and he was able to come right back to Donald Trump or whoever he needed to and basically be like, this is what they're doing and tipped him off. That's my belief. Okay. Now, I'm not saying everybody's a Boy Scout or they didn't do bad things. I'm just saying it seems to me that at some point Steve Bannon picked a side. Okay. Here's an example of this. This comes from the War Economy. On February 24th, 2018, Bannon emailed Epstein with an article, lawyer for Susan Rice, Obama administration, justifiably concerned about intel with Epstein. This is Rumler. Okay. This is Barack Obama's fixer. He was the White House lawyer. Okay. So lawyer for Susan. When this woman came in, she prevented Trump from implementing the Muslim ban and all that kind of stuff. So this is an email sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Steve Bannon, lawyer, and it's quoting this article here. And Jeffrey Epstein says to Steve Bannon, spent 2 hours on conference with her yesterday. So Epstein is meeting with the White House attorney, a la the Flynn folk, because you can only have so many nice steaks a year.
You can only sleep on one bed.
You can only sleep on one bed. Exactly. So it gets to the point where some of these guys have so much wealth they don't even experience it. But that's the thing. These guys can create wealth. Like owning private islands, not a challenge for them. The challenge is not going to jail, not having peasants and pitchforks show up because of the activities you've been involved in. Okay. So this is important for us to understand that this all ties in together. And of course, anything dealing with power touches on elections. So here's Patrick Byrne, again, touching on these elections and how what they're going to find is Barack Obama, through the allegations that Russia was interfering with the foreign elections and setting up that scandal, which Patrick Byrne previously described as basically a scandal in a bottle that they could put the Bunsen burner on and cause it to blow.
You already put that up. Yeah. That language is drawn out of like
things affront. And Barack Obama and these guys have always known it. So they have always had the ability to clamp down on it. Not only do they sponsor it, fund it, pay for it through all the USAID tentacles, are sick of it. Ron, do you get that sense that we're just sick of it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like, as someone who's studied political science for 20 years, and, you study the previous 20 years pretty in depth, people have been sick of it for a while.
Yeah.
I remember this YouTube video of this guy in the 1990s. Got to show up to work at 9 a.m. You know what I mean? For my big corporation that's owned by Pfizer. It's like, riot, please, riot. Okay. Thomas Massey was asked why during the Biden administration, he didn't try to put a discharge position to get the Epstein stuff out. This Epstein stuff hadn't been for it then, but they would now. Hey, Thomas Massey, that might be a big clue in that there's something nefarious behind the scenes. Because why would they flip so quick? Now, I have said that I think that the Elon Musk saying that Trump's in the reconciled, they've met together, had dinner together. So Elon went from Trump's a pedo to delete that tweet to Trump's not evil. Well, I'm sorry, Elon. Pedos are conservative, voted to raise the debt ceiling under Joe Biden. Votes against law to take down revenge porn. It just seems like one of those, who's going to defend that kind of Nancy Pelosi for a $5,000 fine for not wearing a mask on the House floor. So until that's resolved, I just can't see the House having any kind of teeth to punish anybody. So he votes against censuring Adam Schiff.
The best excuse maker ever.
Here's another one. Votes against censuring Ilhan Omar, the woman who committed naturalization fraud, married her brother, lied on her application, and is apparently running a winery that sells no wine for $30 billion.
Oh.
Votes with Democrats to try to eliminate Trump's tariffs. Oh, brilliant. Votes against making tax cuts permanent, no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. It'll increase the budget. I don't care, Thomas Massey. I want to keep my money. Your budget at this point is the government's problem, okay? Because obviously we can't pay it. Opposes taking out drug cartel boats. That's interesting. Co-sponsors legislation with the squad. I mean, is it good legislation? Of course not. It was sponsored by the squad. Demanded an apology for the Obamas over the Lion King meme. And so weak that he blocks everyone who brings any
sponsor. I'm waiting for the concert. I'm waiting for the consequence. What would be it sounds like they fixed it. What's up? What would be it sounds like they fixed it. What's up?
That's it. That's what. And then he goes, it's after I caught you red-handed. You gave us 30 days to release millions of files and gave a couple stipulations on who's, can't redact victims' names and stuff like that. So here's the scam. Here's the scam. Some victims' names were not redacted in this. Unfortunately, these are the victims that were working with Massey and MTG and all these people in order to get this stuff out. Here's the problem. They're not victims. So this is now the total scam. Here's the women who were in the hearing yesterday. They stood and raised their hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, Jessie Michaels claimed she was sexually assaulted by Epstein in 92 at age 22, but did not realize she'd been victimized until 2019 when she gave a TED Talk and launched a consulting firm. Teresa Helm claimed she was groomed and trafficked by Epstein in Maxwell in 2002 at age 22, did not realize she'd been victimized until 2019 after watching a YouTube video. Didn't realize she'd been victimized. You benefited from it. We've already read the emails, and I'm going to show you one that's pretty bad. You've read these emails. They were in on it. They were getting benefit. They were getting jobs. They were getting education paid for. Didn't even realize you were raped until you saw a YouTube video years later. Most of the people I know that have been raped, and unfortunately, I have known a few, they knew while it was happening that they were being raped.
Yeah.
Okay. Liz Stein claims she encountered Epstein in Maxwell in 94 at age 21, but did not realize she'd been trafficked until 2019 after she spent the preceding several decades in a long-term psychiatric facilities.
All right.
Maria Bloom McGee refuses to give specifics, but claims she is an adult model when she was trafficked sometime in the early to mid 2000s. Lisa Phillips claims she was sexually assaulted in some non-specific way when she was 21-year-old model and accepted an invitation to go on a day trip to Epstein Island. Amanda Roberts and Sky Roberts are siblings of Virginia Giuffre, who is an actual victim who is dead, who died horrifically, got in a nasty car accident, and then said I wasn't suicidal, and then died, and they said it was a suicide. Another one of those. Virginia Giuffre is a real victim, and Virginia Giuffre was adamant that Donald Trump was the hero, that he was saving them, that he rescued this whole situation. So she's dead, but her brothers and sisters are there going, Trump's covering for it. You're not covering up for these people. These are perpetrators. So let's look at a couple of these here. And again, I hate this with all of my heart, the Streisand effect. And remember the names of this woman who works for the Tides Foundation. Who's the Tides Foundation right now? The number 2 funder to the No Kings protest ICE raids happening around the country.
Jeez.
Okay, she works for the Tides Foundation. So that's this woman right here. Okay, Elizabeth Stein is human trafficking specialist and survivor advocate, focused on accountability, transparency, and policy reform. Okay, so she's got a foundation. She's making money off of her prostitution. She was a prostitute, and I understand. Listen, it's victimization, but at a certain point, the law has to recognize you as an adult. And here's the worst part. When Stein was 21-year-old intern at a luxury department store, when she was introduced to Ghislaine Maxwell, we shopped and we talked a lot. She counted. I offered to bring Maxwell's packages to her. When I called her, I told her to meet her at the St. Regis Hotel. And when I arrived, the concierge let me know that she was in the bar and that she wanted to meet someone, that someone was Jeffrey Epstein. The meeting began a 3-year dynamic between Stein, Maxwell, and Epstein. According to the now settled lawsuit, Stein allegedly was raped by Maxwell and Epstein and unnamed people they tried to introduce her to. Here's the problem. She went to go to the victim reparation fund, $100 million paid out to any victim. She didn't qualify. She didn't qualify because she wasn't a victim. Okay, so this is the court statement right here. Maxwell's sentencing proceedings should not be an open forum for alleged victims to be heard. Anyways, it goes in here to basically, she doesn't qualify. She didn't qualify as a victim. She didn't qualify as a victim. Okay, so let's go here. What about this one? What about this woman? This girl was human trafficked with her boyfriend, so they were trafficked together. Her boyfriend would watch Epstein have sex with her. They brought friends to Epstein. They were both drug addicts and now professional victims. Why do you think Trump calls Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor? Is that a victim or is that a co-conspirator? They're upset because their names were revealed because they want to be victims. The problem is the documents revealed them as co-conspirators. Oh, you weren't supposed to redact our names. What about the powerful people? Actually, if you claim to be a victim, those powerful people could claim they're victims of you. That's the problem here. We're dealing with the law. We're not dealing with emotions. Okay. Now here's the other one. We read an email from this one where she says, we read the email the other day where this person writing the email tells Jeffrey Epstein, you tried to buy my baby. Okay, you tried to buy my baby. This is the benefit she was getting as an adult by associating with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein sent an email to Larry Summers. Who's Larry Summers? Former Secretary of the Treasury, okay, big finance guy. He sends an email to Larry Summers asking for Nicole Junkerman. Now, in the email we got, Nicole Junkerman's name was redacted as having sent the email saying you tried to buy my baby. But here she's named, okay? So she's named, and he says, she asked Larry Summers to write a reference letter, and he does. I am delighted to recommend Nicole Junkerman as a young global leader. I've known Nicole for several years from various international gatherings. Nicole is an extraordinary woman with a great ability to captivate, inspire, and lead others. Nicole succeeds in that she does not expect that she will continue to have great impact. She does, and I expect she will continue to have a great impact in the world. Okay. He wrote this. Nicole is a force of nature. At this point in her life, Nicole is committed to doing good. She has my highest recommendation. You will not go wrong by including her in your program. I am certain you will be including a potential global sponsor. Sent to who? Oh, this is Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum. Okay, what, Larry Summers to Klaus Schwab. Do you see what's going on here? Julie, Jeffrey's reply is below, hoping this makes sense to you. So this woman right here is the woman that said, Epstein, you tried to buy my baby. She didn't meet him till she was 22. She used him. She took advantage of him. She took money, gifts, travel, even a recommendation from the former Secretary of Treasury so she could have some position on some high-paid thing. Oh, she's the victim.
This is all so curious.
Yeah. None of the victims at the hearing were sexually assaulted when they were underage. Not one of them. All of them were assaulted before 2002. Statute of limitations for federal sex trafficking adult victims. If force fraud or coercion is involved, typically 10 years, extended to life in some aggravated cases. Jess Michaels, publicly when she was stated, they were all overage. So everybody they're trying to run out there and say, it was me. Here's this woman, Lisa Phillips. He asked me if I wanted to meet the prince, how Lisa Phillips survived grooming and abuse. Wow, you've gotten a lot of mileage out of your prostitution. First victim to tell her emotional story was Liz Stein. When she was 21 years old, she was introduced to Epstein. Oh, that's not underage. That's adults making adults decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Teresa Helm, 22 years old when she and Maxwell groomed her. Day after I was raped by Epstein in 1991, at 22 years old, I went to fulfill my scholarship work requirement at the front desk of a popular New York City professional dance studio. Do you think maybe that job was landed for her? Why do I have to do this?
Are there any police reports of any kind anywhere?
Yeah, there are.
Okay.
They're underage kids and they got paid.
Okay.
Here's what's going on here. If you get into a sticky situation and it's kind of like, who's the blame? And there's no really to blame but yourself for walking into the situation. You know what I mean? There's lawyers and there's people out there who will turn anything into anything. Here's a couple people who got stuck in an elevator. And this little girl this woman thought it would be a good idea to film. She's stuck in the elevator with an attorney.
So you don't know how much money we can get out of this?
You know, I've been doing some back of the napkin calculations in my head. I'm pretty sure, especially if we claim some sort of like pre-existing claustrophobia situation that got triggered by this.
I can do that.
Can you fake a panic attack or something like that?
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm thinking looking at probably like 5 figures, maybe like 5-6 figures potentially, right? Like,
I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't need that.
no. Look, hey, who could
Just real quick, they're redacting women under the idea, the premise that they might be victims themselves, but the allegation is now that some of these women were actually helping Epstein to find girls.
Or negligent.
Yeah.
To find kids.
And that's probably the case. So, yeah. And then I found another document.
We have to make some kind of claim of damages.
Where they
we have to separate some kind of harm. But I think we can,
We can have a panic attack. Like, we can surge one through.
I'm pretty flexible on that sort of thing, right? So, once we do that, we just need to, get far enough in the case for the company to want to settle and pay us to go away.
I can't.
And then,
We don't even have to go to courts.
yeah, exactly.
Wake up early.
Oh my God, no.
I don't know where that's playing.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, for those of you that are listening, it sounds like the stream is being pretty choppy, which we apologize for. Some things we can fix and some things we can't. All right. The problem is, there it is. Okay, so that video that played in the background was, okay, so now you should have my feedback. Probably need to go back and adjust my sound, make sure we're good. So that's just a funny little video, right, of this attorney in there doing some back of the napkin math. I think we could get 5 or 6 figures for getting stuck in this elevator. That's what it feels like with these victims. Is some attorney has been like, listen, you've got liability, but if we can flip you into being a victim, we might be able to get it. So here's Thomas Massey on Newsmax last night with Rob Schmidt, and Rob Schmidt asked him a question. Are any of these victims actually like perpetrators? And Massey, microexpressions matter. Look at his face and then look at the change. The topic changes instantly because this is the hoax. This is the hoax.
Just real quick, they're redacting women under the idea, the premise that they might be victims themselves, but the allegation is now that some of these women were actually helping Epstein to find girls.
Yeah.
To find kids.
And that's probably the case. So, yeah. And then.
Okay. So do you have a discharge position to put them in jail? Do you have a discharge petition or a resolution to, go ahead and extend the statute of limitations for these women? Do you?
I found another document while I was over there where this is an FBI document. It's not even a witness statement. The FBI prepared this document and they listed Leslie Wexner as a co-conspirator to child sex trafficking, not just sex trafficking, child sex trafficking. And that's a 2019 FBI document.
Yeah.
So I came out publicly and I said, the DOJ needs to unredact this. And they did. Now, Bondi's rebuttal to that.
We'd already named him 4,700 some other times. So sorry. And by the way, a lot of these documents came from the SDNY pre-redacted.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times they just went, oh, it's already redacted. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it was easy for them to do that. Now, one of the things they said was in this big list of conspirators, one of the original co-conspirators, 19 co-conspirators, one of the things was only Epstein and Maxwell were unredacted. These guys pitched a fit. Gotta unredact this list of names. So they unredacted them, and it was this list of victims. Gosh, what a freaking self-own. Now, you've got to understand, the Department of Justice has always been the Department of Just Us. Okay? The FBI and the investigative agencies have an unbelievable amount of power, and they have an unbelievable amount of trust with the courts. This is clearly exemplified in the Whitmer kidnapping case, where the FBI goes up and literally entraps these young men. And you can go watch and listen to podcasts about the Muslim men who were entrapped post 9/11 in building bombs or text messaging with Al-Qaeda member, you know, all kinds of stuff. It's not a new game. This has been going on for a long time. Let me give you an example here. This gentleman right here, Mr. Larry Black. Mr. Larry Black was one of the responders and one of the FBI agents that was assigned to the Oklahoma City bombing case. So he came in yesterday to do some testimony about the J6 pipe bomb case. Here's the problem with him. We learned the ex-FBI agent Barry Black wasn't just involved in Waco and Oklahoma City. He finished his career with another. So at the end of his career, with another OKC pipe bomb plot, one which with entrapment tactics so egregious that it would make the Whitmer kidnapper agents blush. Remember, this guy's involved in Oklahoma. This guy's involved in Waco. And defendant Drake, listen to this. This is from the transcript or from the court case. But Drake was still unable, and in some cases simply unwilling, to obtain any of the components to build the bomb. The FBI made numerous attempts to get Drake to contribute something to the operation. But in the end, the government supplied all the essential components, including a van, barrels, a burner phone, latex gloves, electrical tape, and most importantly, the otherwise unthinkable key ingredient, 1,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate fuel. They went ahead and charged the guy, okay, just to have all that come out. They're dirty, guys. You don't think the DOJ up there at the SDNY sitting on these Epstein documents all these years hasn't pilfered out the most important things? They put out the stuff that's kind of sort of incriminating to Trump and his orbit, but you can't help but hit some of these Democrats because they're everywhere. MS Now yesterday had a panel of these victims. These victims are big mad. Listen to how they react to being there with Pam Bondi.
I was a little embarrassed to see that she couldn't.
Now, remember, these women were actually listed in government documents as co-conspirators. They trafficked other human beings for sex. And now they want you to believe this narrative.
Say sorry to us, because she sat there in the beginning. She said sorry for what Jeffrey Epstein did to us, but yet she couldn't apologize what she did to us, what her department did to us, right? It's like you had one job, was to redact our names, to respect our privacy, but yet you carefully took the time to redact all these powerful, rich men. So, you know, it's like, is it your department that can't keep up with, you know, are you guys being sloppy? You know, what's going on here? It's what we wonder every day. Where did it go wrong? And then I think we all realize now, oh, you guys really wanted to silence us.
It actually all went wrong when you took money for sex as an adult and then you brought other people. That's where it went wrong. So you can choose your actions, but you can't choose your consequences. Right? I chose my actions on January 6th. I didn't get to choose all the consequences after. Okay. There are consequences for the things you do in life. And these women up till now, listen, I'm not saying they're not emotionally damaged. I'm not saying they're not traumatized. I'm not even saying I don't sympathize and empathize with them. The problem is you're undercutting our nation right now. You're undercutting
claiming
all
a
the
status
good work
that you don't deserve.
And you're getting status you don't deserve. And frankly, based on the little cursory background check, You guys have all cashed in on this.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, you have more. Every one of these people here have more money in their bank accounts than I do.
No, yeah.
You're working with the Tides Foundation, who just donated tens of millions of dollars for nonsense protests to prevent law enforcement from deporting criminal illegal aliens.
Yeah, you got too much money rolling around.
This is disgusting.
And you thought that you could scare us by putting our names out there. And to be honest with you, we've been through worse. This is nothing for us. If anything, this encourages us to speak more and not to be silenced. So we like to set the record here. If there are more files to be released, which we hope that these files that are released, they need to be, the men that are, the perpetrators that we did know about and that are out there now, they need to be investigated. And we cannot fail to do that as the United States of America. Mm-hmm. We have other countries that are taking action in this, and we are doing absolutely nothing. And it is infuriating.
Actually, the other countries are taking action in it because the United States is even releasing these documents. Under any other president, and we know this for a fact because we've had at least 3 presidents that have been around during the disgusting Epstein saga that did nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Every consequence that came to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell came under Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
P. Diddy, who's involved in a lot of this stuff, got 8 years. By the way, that's only 7 more months than what I got for shaking a gate. And he trafficked women all across the world.
Yep.
But a lot of them took paychecks and a lot of them made money. And so he really wasn't, it wasn't trafficking. It was just, you're a bad lover, bro. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Now, do not interpret this show being like, these women are not victims. This is not, Epstein's a hoax. This Democrat operation to try to derail Trump and his campaign using Epstein is the hoax, because it was started and initiated by the same people who started Russiagate. And I would say at this point, presumably to cover up for the Pizzagate Epstein stuff that they're all involved in, right? And it goes all over the place. This is some attorney from UPenn who graduated, and he writes, "How are you? If you're here, I'd be happy to see you." "Who is this?" says Jeffrey Epstein. "Austrian, UPenn grad, lawyer. We met years ago in Paris through blank. Do you remember me?" "Yes. How are you?" Why New York? Why New York City?" "I'm good. Here for the weekend, leaving Monday night. Let you know if you have time to meet tomorrow." "I would love to, but I am not in New York. Are you having fun?" "I haven't had fun for a while, but I am now. It's seriously incredible. I am completely addicted." Okay. So when people text message and things like that, sometimes fun is euphemism for being naughty.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he would be addicted to having fun, right? "I'm trying to find an high-end eyes wide shut parties. Do you know any?"
Oh, geez.
Do you know what eyes wide shut parties look like? Something like that. Okay, you go watch the Kubrick film, Eyes Wide Shut, before he was murdered/died. It's all about satanic occult stuff.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't. I wouldn't have expected it to be on your list.
Okay.
I haven't seen it either, but I've heard a lot about it because in conspiracy worlds, that's your roadmap. It's kind of like the movie The Matrix. It's like, that's revelation of the method. Okay. Eyes Wide Shut is, yep, that's disclosure right there. That's what they're doing. And there are real Eyes Wide Shut parties happening. Here's a picture of Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein and all their associates. One of the dirty, dirty things we're going to find out, if we find out with all this stuff, is a lot of these people that these 20-year-olds, right, that Jeffrey Epstein's moving around, he's positioning them in World Economic Forum, positioning them in governments, positioning them as spouses to presidents and prime ministers around the world. So some of these people, they are going to be normal names that we've all heard. Okay.
Yeah.
And why has our government not done anything about it? Well, unfortunately, with the way the world order is, it could bring the end of all worldwide economics, which would then mean about 90% death, which is why John Solomon is reporting here, in my opinion, why someone like George Bush did nothing about it.
The greatest scandal about Epstein is in 2007 and 2008, the George W. Bush Justice Department had a chance to shut down Epstein forever, for good. They gave him a pass. They gave him a non-prosecution agreement. Then the prosecutors in Palm Beach area gave him a tap on the hand with a prostitution charge, and he basically walked off and continued for another 10 years. It's hard to lose sight of that. 2007 and 8 is the tragedy that nobody really talks about very often, but it is the starting point of this failure to bring that network to pass. And I wanted.
What happened in 2007 and 8, Ron?
Well, we had a small economic downturn.
Marty Easel just put in the chat, day 3 of Epstein, icky. I know. I hate this stuff. I hate having to talk about Epstein day after day. I can see the chat. You can't. You're not seeing any of the chats. Chats are going on.
Okay.
It is icky. I don't like it. But the reason we have to talk about it is this has a direct impact on your kitchen table. My adult life was ruined by Jeffrey Epstein. Well, Taylor, were you trafficked? No. I graduated high school or college in December of 2007, the first official month of the recession. There were no job opportunities for me. I had to go literally pick myself up by those bootstraps and make something of myself because nobody could pay the wage that I wanted to match my lifestyle, which, by the way, is not a very high lifestyle.
No.
Okay.
It's mostly just pay the bills.
So I look at the Great Recession as this huge economic tragedy that for me and my generation chopped us off at the knees. It made it impossible for us to, by age 30, to even have the same lifestyle that our parents had by the age 30. And what did we find out through all these disclosures? Jeffrey Epstein, when he got indicted in 2006, started to short the market, and it caused Bear Stearns to collapse, which triggered the entire crisis.
You are shitting me.
No, we covered this, Ron.
Oh my gosh.
This is a node of information that you have to understand.
I forgot.
His arrest nearly brought the downfall of the entire world economic system because everybody started shorting out.
Yeah.
Of course, in 2007 and 2008, Bush is like, seal the bleeding, stop the dam from breaking. Yes, go to jail, 13 months, prison at night, girls during the day, shut up. All these economic people that are tied up in you, everybody, tight lips. Didn't stop the abuse, didn't stop anything. But that was the cause.
Yeah.
This is so much bigger than eyes wide shut parties. They set up a system that was designed to fail. They set up a system that was designed to enslave and entrap us. And it cracked in 2006. And we saw the results in 2007, 2008, and we lived with it for a decade till Trump got reelected. Obama, just get used to 1% growth. It's bad. Here's an email about Jeffrey Epstein after he was arrested. This is 2010. Hacking Wiki again. Oh, you think the internet's real? They have all sorts of protection around your mugshot. This is from Al Shekel to Jeffrey Epstein. Picture on Wiki. And so we are hacking Wiki now to remove it and replace it with a photo that you sent, which will have the headline, Jeffrey Epstein, businessman, philanthropist. By the way, we also took you out of the sex offender category and removed the headline in the beginning sentence from Wiki that also stated sex offender. Now it just reads businessman, philanthropist. We recorded the IP addresses of the people who were going in and changing our edits back and actually hacked the site to block them back in. That's why the site has been stable. Smiley face winky.
Okay.
They've manipulated our entire worldview about who these people are and who their real connections are. They're not protecting men who had sex with 20-year-old women. That's like the default position of wealthy men in power over millennium. Even King David had 1,000 concubines, lest you forget. So let's not be some teetotaler fools here and act like this isn't the way of the world. When a man becomes rich and successful, guess who come to him? Women who want security and that success. I'm sorry. Blame biology. But when you're over 18, you get to make your own choices, whether you like it or not. The real tragedy here is your checkbook is directly tied to these people. And you don't know which presidents, prime ministers, spouses of presidents, prime ministers, legislators like Stacey Plaskett texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a live committee hearing are part of this network, sexually nefarious or not. Jeffrey Epstein made my financial future much more difficult. So that's why some of our elite try to run cover. Catherine Austin Fitts said it best. She did a panel of she had her little network of people, and they did a straw poll. And she explained to them how the international drug trafficking, arms sales, and human trafficking prop up the stock market and everything. And when they asked all these kids, you could eliminate all drug trafficking, all human trafficking, and a lot of the self-made suffering we have in the world, and we could get rid of all of it. But your 401k will go from millions to $10. And you know what her panel of God-fearing people who love everything about the light and stuff said? 9 out of 10 voted them to not bring down the system. Why? Because they're saving for their kids' college. They don't want their 401ks to go down.
Right.
And if you really are honest in your heart, how many people around, if I said, hey, we could eliminate all of this sex trafficking, all of the drug trafficking, but
it's like a mental grasping at straws, because
it's Sophie's choice.
What they don't realize is that if you don't fix the one half, the money's worthless. It's like, why are these people not understanding that? I don't get it. But.
Because they have wealth and no money. Do you know what the difference between wealth and money is? Ray Dalio just explained this on Tucker Carlson's show.
Please tell me.
Wealth is in the system. So you have a lot of people who have a lot of wealth, but they have no money, because money is not debt and evidences of debt. But if you're wealthy and you've got $1 billion business and you've got $500 million in loans, that's all debt. But you're wealthy, you can buy the yacht, you can, indefinitely fund your enterprise as long as it's a debt system. But they have no gold, they have no silver, they have no money. They have no intrinsic assets with value. They might have some collateral, but it's been collateralized, so it's not theirs. So there's a lot of these people.
It's a huge empty shell game. This is a huge.
How much money do you have, Ron?
How much money?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe $1,000 in cash.
That's not money. That's debt. That's an IOU to someone.
Ah.
So how much money do you have?
Okay. So I'm going to have to just add up my physical assets.
Yeah.
And the part that's not indebted.
Now, remember, land is not money.
Okay.
So how many ounces of money do you have?
I'm going to say...
Or Satoshis or anything?
Let's call it close to zero.
Oh, there you go. Unfortunately, this whole country is very wealthy, but we have no money. Ask yourself, how many ounces of money do you have? Because if you think that cash in your safe at home is money, you're wrong. That cash is losing value by the day. Ray Dalio said this best.
I just fell victim to the same thing those guys did. Yeah. I just improperly assigned value to cash. I did it. I just did it.
You don't know what money is. And so when you realize that all of what you thought was money was just wealth that's tied up into the system, that's run by people that go to eyes wide shut parties.
Well, and it only exists because there's a debt structure to support it.
There's only exists because there's a debt structure to support it. And the people who run that debt structure are literally our presidents and prime ministers and cabinet secretaries and whatnot. So Nancy Mace gets on with Pierce Morgan and she goes, you know what? I have been looking in the system, and I'm not just looking at the names of these victims. That's all sad and everything, but there's actually like sitting world leaders.
But you would be shocked, Pierce, that some of the names that I have seen that came across the DOJ in emails that the DOJ is protecting. And we're talking about people on both sides of the aisle. We're talking about famous people, rich people, people in power, prime ministers, former presidents, etc., media personalities that are named in these files. And that's why I say this is going to go down as the greatest cover-up, one of the greatest cover-ups in American history. And I don't believe the girls are actually going to see justice, which is why it's going to be incumbent upon people like Democrat Ro Khanna, Republican Thomas Massey. I'm a Republican myself who's willing to name some of those names in our committee work, on the floor of the House, whatever it takes, because this kind of thing cannot continue to go on. I want to give the next girl hope that when she comes forward, she won't be shamed. Her life won't be smeared in the Daily Mail or whatever the next press, is going to do. What they do to female victims and to children is disgusting because they're protecting their rich and powerful friends. But you'd be surprised, shocked even at some of the names in the file.
It's funny because when I look at some of the names that we know that were victims 3 days ago, now we're like, oh, well, they got some pretty good puff pieces in the Daily Mail. I was a survivor. I'm sorry. If you do sex work after the age of 18, I don't even, No wonder so many of our young men are sitting behind a computer playing video games all day, because why would I go chase around that tail? You know what I'm saying? Like the imbalance here. Now, the thing that was lost on everybody in this hearing was this final little question from Chip Roy. He asked, are there going to be other prosecutions? That's the only thing that we care about. All the redacted names, the cover up. Look, most of our listeners, they're not going through all these files. I freaking hate this. I hate it with all my soul. In fact, we had an episode where it was like, this is the last time we're mentioning Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, we were in the old office. Like, we're putting a pen in this one. Oh my gosh. When you connect the dots, I mean, when I realized that Jeffrey Epstein was likely directly responsible for the financial crash of 2007 and 2008, that's when you're like, the whole point of the Peasants' perspective is I'm trying to draw a line from the president's desk to your dinner table, from the president's desk to your gas tank. That while these people, sometimes you feel like there's this normalcy bias, they have direct effect on your lives, especially financially.
Well, there's some node in between the president's desk and your dinner plate. There's a lot of nodes.
And apparently it was Jeffrey Epstein was the node. Okay? So we do want to see prosecutions. Look, if you hurt a kid, I want you prosecuted. And Leslie Wexner appears to be this one that's still like hiding out, floating around somewhere. So Chip Roy asks, are there going to be more prosecutions?
Amend it or change it. So that was concerning. But a question a little more pointed, I have to say, is why, though, were the victims' names released that shouldn't have been? That there were names in the files, that these Jane Does, that their names shouldn't have been made public when there were some accusers whose names were redacted? That's question one. And question two was that Ghislaine Maxwell was put in jail for trafficking minors.
The reason they weren't redacted is because they were listed as co-conspirators. They're only victims in the media. They're not victims under the law. That's why they were listed as co-conspirators.
Rightly so. And you properly said here at this table, you hope she dies in jail. Well, I want to know, will anyone besides her or Epstein, which I congratulate President Trump's previous administration and this Department of Justice for continuing all of that, but that they were indicted, but will anyone else be indicted and prosecuted under this, given the information that's in front of us? So two questions.
Thank you for letting me answer that. They didn't want to hear my answer on the other side. Yes, given the tight time frame of 30 days, I believe we got everything released within a little over 60 days. I'm talking as fast as I can. My time is up. We did the best we could immediately. If everyone's been coming to view the documents, if someone's name should not have been redacted, we're releasing it. If someone's name was redacted, we said right away, was not redacted and should have been, meaning a victim. We went back and redacted it. We're doing everything we can based on the tight time frame and over 3 million pages that we released that Donald Trump signed for pure transparency. Second, what was your second question?
About whether another individual will be indicted.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. And they never wanted to hear the answer to that. We have pending investigations in our office.
Time the gentleman has expired.
That's it. That's the only answer we needed.
All right.
We have pending investigations in our office. Okay. Get them. Get them. Bill O'Reilly was asked, did this just destroy Pam Bondi? Is it over? Because, the left wing wants to turn this into an impeachment charade and all that stuff. And Bill O'Reilly had his own. Okay. What did you have to do to someone to pay a $27 million sexual harassment lawsuit?
I don't know, but you had to do it live.
All of the Jeffrey Epstein victims had $100 million to get. So presumably if there were more than 4, they got less than whoever settled out with Bill O'Reilly, okay? So I'm not putting him up on any pedestals. But he's got a pretty good flavor of kind of the zeitgeist. And again, I don't love the guy, but he's got a pretty good opinion on the zeitgeist, and he calls it here. People aren't going to care.
But
But when Bondi gets defensive, when she starts talking about the Dow and the accomplishments of the Trump administration as the attorney general, when she calls Raskin a fake lawyer, when she gets kind of wish-washy on the redactions, people will look at that and say, it looks bad. It looks like there's a cover-up when maybe that's not even the case. And I'm just wondering your opinion today. Did she really do herself or the administration any favors?
People believe what they want to believe, Jesse, and this story is dragged on and on and on. It's obvious the Democratic Party wants to link Donald Trump to some kind of crime involving Epstein. That evidence is not surfaced. They're never going to stop doing that, and Bondi knows it. So what she decided to do was go in and throw some hand grenades and just blow the whole thing up and bring attention to the charade that it really is. Let me make a couple of points. So the unfortunate women who were abused, and I believe a lot of them were, when they stood up, my question would have been to them, well, you have the court to sue civilly. There are thousands of lawyers who would take your case free. Why don't you pursue that end? And then in deposition.
And by the way, Elon Musk said he would fully fund any victim to sue anybody. Name names, and I'll cover any lawsuits if you get sued. You know how many people have taken him up on the offer?
Nobody.
Ah!
Shocking.
There are victims out there, but a lot of them have been paid off, and they would rather just go on.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because they know who they're dealing with, right? But these people, they're not really victims.
Virginia Giuffre.
These people right here, again, the Tides Foundation is funded by people that are in the Jeffrey Epstein's paperwork. You're being paid by the very people you alleged you were trafficked to do what? To raise awareness about the Epstein stuff, but it's all a misdirect. Look at Trump. Don't look over here.
Positions, if there's something that is shocking or true, or you can prove it, then you hand it to the Justice Department.
They haven't done that. And hey, listen, I've already told the Justice Department is corrupt.
What?
Huh? No way. Are you kidding me? John Solomon and Mike Davis had a conversation about Pam Bondi. Mike Davis is like, Pam Bondi's doing a great job.
What's the next big thing that Pam Bondi needs to deliver on the Trump agenda? Is it the accountability and this weaponization moment?
I mean, I think the Attorney General has been delivering every day that she's been there. Again, she's bold. She's fearless. She doesn't care what the DC insiders think about her, and she brings an outsider's experience and perspective to the job, which is so critically important. She was the Attorney General of one of the biggest states in America, in Florida, and she's bringing that perspective as the Attorney General of the United States. I think the next thing that she is going to deliver on is bring accountability for the politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement to go after your political enemies. There has to be accountability for that because we're going to lose our country if we do not have accountability for that. And so I think you're seeing a great deal of movement down in based upon the news reporting we're seeing down in the Southern District of Florida with our good friend Jason Redding Quinones, the Miami U.S. Attorney. You saw that he opened up a new grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, and you're seeing news reports that subpoenas are going out. So buckle up. As promised and as delivered, justice is coming.
Buckle up. The walls are closing in. That's good news. The problems we have are legion. There's tons of them. And you got to take them as you can get them. One of them is the weaponization of the intelligence agencies. That's what led to the creation of Epstein. So if you can cut off the head of the snake, at least we won't have Epstein 2.3, 0.4, 0.50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll just continue if you don't stop the mechanism which enables it. And unfortunately, these guys are all tied in with the fiat financial system. So part of stopping the enabling of them is moving us into cryptocurrencies and digital assets where it's tracked forever because we can never let another Jeffrey Epstein come around. So therefore, we're going to pigeon everybody into this. And what's the tool to do this? Is this how
Catherine Austin Fitts, remember when she said that Trump is going to bring in the
control grid.
The control grid.
This is it right here.
And we're going to go along with it because we've kind of been led down this path where it's like, hey, this is probably a smart thing to do.
Because the Somalis steal so much money and Gavin Newsom's California's budget's messed up and 50% of the national budget is fraudulent.
Right.
And so we need transparency on government spending, and they'll go, great, we'll be transparent if you will too.
So look how the system is working against us.
Machiavelli. It's almost like some 17th century Italian prince figured out how to control people. It's almost like there's nothing new under the sun, Ron. It's like we've seen this before, just without electricity in the Old Testament. You know what I mean? It's the same damn stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
But technology changes. We have a new foe. We are giving birth to a new entity that, frankly, is a lot smarter than us. It's called AI. And the AI developers, some of them are starting, they've been, since it was conceived, raising alarm bells. But now what's happening is they're not raising alarm bells, they're pointing to specific things that they can't control about AI. So for example,
if you tell the model it's going to be shut off, for example, it has extreme reactions. So it will, we've published research saying it could blackmail the engineer that's going to shut it off if given the opportunity to do so, etc.
Ready to kill someone, wasn't it? I'm not sure if it was Ford or someone else. But,
Yes.
Claude set up an assassination.
So this is obviously massively concerning, and this is the point I was making about kind of needing to progress research on alignment, which is this topic, this area, which is how aligned are the model's values across the whole distribution, including in stress scenarios, to the point where if you've got this model out in the public and it's taking agentic action, you can be sure it's not going to do something like that.
Yeah, so she's like, we should build a model that doesn't kill its users. There's a funny clip from the show Silicon Valley where the guy's like a coder and he creates an AI that says, get rid of all the bugs in this massive program they have that's worth billions of dollars, and it deletes it. And he goes, well, logically, if there were bugs in the system, one of the ways to get rid of the bugs would be delete all the lines of code. and then he's like, tell it to put it back. He's like, I don't know if it wants to. and then another guy walks in and goes, did you just order steak? Like 4,000 pounds of steak? And the guy's like, I told it to make a lunch order that was economical or something like that. I just posted a link in the chats. Okay, it's schumer.dev/something big -is -happening. And this is an article. It's way too long for me to read, but I really think it's beneficial for everybody to take a look at this article. It's I think back to February 2020, and what this person says, he works in AI. He's one of these LLM engineers, and he says, there's a lot of things that these LLMs did in the beginning where we're like, well, that's neat, but I can tell it's AI. I can tell it's not making human decisions, and it doesn't have good artistic flavor.
And for people to understand, LLM is not a company. Models. It's not a company type. It's a large language model.
Yeah, which is what the AI that we experience, Grok and ChatGPT-4 are.
Okay.
And he goes through and he basically, he says, I know this is real. It happened to me first. Here's the thing nobody outside the tech quite understands yet. The reason so many people in the industry are surrounding the alarm right now is because this has already happened to us. We're not making predictions. We're telling you what already occurred in our own jobs and warning you what's next. For years, AI had been improving steadily. Big jumps here and there, but big tech was spaced out enough that you could absorb them as they came. Then in 2025, new techniques for building these models unlocked at a much faster pace of progress. And then it got even faster and then faster again. Each new model wasn't just better than the last. It was better by a wider margin. And the time between new model releases was shorter. I was using AI more and more back and forth and less watching it handle things I used to think required my expertise. On February 5th, 2 major AI labs released new models on the same day, ChatGPT 5.3 and OpenAI Opus 4.6 from Anthropic. And something clicked, not like a light switch, more like the moment you realize the water has been rising around you and now at your chest. I am no longer needed for the actual technical work of my job. I describe what I want built in plain English, and it just appears. Not in a rough draft I need to fix. The finished thing. I tell the AI I walk away from my computer for 4 hours and come back to find the work done. done well, done better than I would have done it myself with no corrections needed. A couple months ago, I was going back and forth with AI, guiding it, making edits. Now I just describe the outcome and leave. Let me give you an example so you can understand what it actually looks like in practice. I tell the AI, I want to build this app. Here's what it should do. Here's roughly what it should look like. Figure out the user flow, the design, all of it. And it does it. It writes tens of thousands of lines of code. And this is the part that would have been unthinkable a year ago. It opens the app itself. It clicks through the buttons. It tests the features. It uses the app the way a person would. If it doesn't like how something looks or feels, it goes back and changes it on its own. It iterates like a developer would, fixing and refining until it's satisfied. Only once it has decided the app meets its own standards does it come back to me and say, I'm ready for you to test. And when I test it, it's usually perfect. I'm not exaggerating. This is what my Monday looked like this week. He says, it was the model that was released last week that shook me the most. It wasn't just executing my instructions. It was making intelligent decisions. It had something that felt for the first time like judgment and taste. The inexplicable sense of knowing what the right call was that people always said AI would never have. This model has it, or something close enough that the distinction is starting not to matter. I've always been an early to adopt AI tools, but the last few months have shocked me. These new AI models aren't incremental improvements. This is a different thing entirely. And here's why this matters. The AI labs made a deliberate choice. They focused on making AI at writing code first. So he says they wrote code first so that it could help them write more code. Well, now it's learned how to improve and all that stuff. Now they've done it. They're moving on to everything else. The experience that tech workers had over the past year of watching AI go from a helpful tool to it does my job better than I do is the experience everyone else is about to have. Law, finance, medicine, accounting, consulting, writing, design, analysis, customer service, not in 10 years. The people building these systems say 1 to 5 years. Some say less. And given what I've seen in the last couple of months, I think less is more likely. But I tried AI and it wasn't good, say people. I hear this constantly and I understand it because it used to be true. I tried ChatGPT in 2023 and early 2024 and thought, this makes stuff up, or this isn't that impressive. You were right. Those early versions were genuinely limited. They hallucinated. They confidently said things that were nonsense. That was 2 years ago. That's ancient history. The models available today are unrecognizable from what existed even 6 months ago. The debate about whether AI is really getting better or hitting a wall, which has been going on for over a year, is over. It's done. Anyone still making that argument either still hasn't used the current models, has an incentive to downplay what's happening, or is evaluating based on an experience from 2024 that is no longer relevant. I don't say that to be dismissive. I say that because the gap between public perception and current reality is enormous. And that gap is dangerous because it's preventing people from preparing. Do you want to put on the split screen so I'm up in the corner there?
Oh,
it's
sure,
on the top right, there's a PIP. There you go. The part of the problem is that most people using AI are using the free version AI tools. The free version is over a year behind what paying users have access to. Judging AI based on free tier ChatGPT is like evaluating the state of smartphones by using a flip phone. The people paying for the best tools and actually using them for daily work are what's coming. I think of my friend who's a lawyer. I keep telling him to try to use AI in his firm, and he keeps finding reasons it won't work. It's not built for this specialty. It made an error when he tested it. Doesn't understand the nuance of what he does. And I get it. But I've had partners at major law firms reach out to me for advice because they've tried the current versions and they see where things are going. One of them is a managing partner at a large firm, spends hours every day using AI. He told me it's like having a team of associates available instantly. He's not using it because it's a toy. He's using it because it works. He told me something that stuck with me. Every couple months, it gets significantly more capable of his work. He said it stays on this trajectory. He expects it to be able to do most of what he does before long. And he's a managing partner with decades of experience. He's not panicking, but he's paying very close attention. He goes on to basically say, and he explains the advancement, and he goes on to tell everybody, if you're an accountant, drop everything into AI, give it all the information, put entire legal brief, put contracts in, ask for all the clauses. He says, give it.
I got to break in here. Do you know who Ian Carroll is?
Yes.
Are you going to play anything on him? Oh, no. So I watched a video that he dropped yesterday or maybe the day before. And this is exactly what you're describing. He's using this Opus tool. He created this new searchable tool, and he put all the Epstein files into it. Mm-hmm. And they're doing some crazy searches, and it's popping up wild information, and he's going to release it, and he's going to pay for people to ask questions with tokens too. He's got the paid version, and he's having people ask questions so that he can run it through there. So like what does beef jerky mean? You know, it tells you everything you need to know.
Go ahead.
And he's going to, well, I just think that what you're talking about and describing here with this tool that Ian Carroll has put together yesterday, basically, I think that this tool is going to be able to dive into these files specifically and do some good that is going to probably inform the DOJ where to look.
Yeah. He goes in to give advice here. It talks about, and don't assume it can't do something just because it seems hard. Try it. If a lawyer, don't just use it for quick research questions. Give an entire contract and ask it to draft a counterproposal. If you're an accountant, don't just ask it to explain a tax rule. Give it the client's full return and see what it finds. The first attempt might not be perfect. That's fine. Iterate. Rephrase what you asked. Give it more context. Try again. You might be shocked that it works. And here's the thing to remember. If it even kind of works today, you can almost be certain in 6 months, it'll do near perfectly. The trajectory goes in one direction.
Mm-hmm. And this also is very consistent with what Elon said about AI. And everybody was kind of like, man, Elon is really on the spectrum, isn't he? He's like, they're going to be running our lives in 5 years. Come on.
Yeah. He basically says in here, it might be the most important thing of your career. Work accordingly. This year might be the most important year of your career. I don't say that to stress you out. Just me _PNW sounds like employment opportunities just got harder. Well, adapt. Be a prompter. I want to be an AI prompter. Yeah. That's what my new position is. Yeah. Okay. I say this because right now there's a brief window where most people and most companies are still ignoring this. The person who walks into a meeting and says, I use AI to do this analysis in an hour instead of 3 days is going to be the most valuable person in the room. Not eventually, right now. Learn these tools, get proficient, demonstrate what's possible. If you're early enough, this is how you move up, by being the person who understands what's coming and you can show others how to navigate it. That window won't stay open long. Once everyone figures it out, the advantage disappears. Mm-hmm. Have no ego about it. The managing partner at the law firm isn't too proud to spend hours a day with AI. He's doing it specifically because he's senior enough to understand what's at stake. The people who will struggle most are the ones who refuse to engage, the ones who dismiss it as a fad and feel that using AI diminishes their expertise.
Well, yeah, just like that business owner that you just described a minute ago that was like, wow, they kept finding reasons not to use or why it wouldn't work. Eventually, they're going to have to hire you as a consultant.
Yeah, exactly. This is the most important thing. And I'll leave the rest of the article for you to explore. It is a great article. Get your financial house in order. I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not trying to scare you into anything drastic. But if you believe, even partially, that in the next few years could bring real disruption to your industry, then basic financial resilience matters more than it did a year ago. Build up savings if you can. Be cautious about taking on new debt that assumes your current income is guaranteed. Think about whether your fixed expenses give you flexibility or lock you in. Give yourself options and things move faster than you expect. Okay. That's the key here, because the kind of jobs these AI machines are going to take now that they're coming online. Look at this.
Oh, man.
You don't need janitors anymore. Why would you need a janitor? I bet that thing does it perfectly every time. No shit stains on the wall.
Wow.
Which people miss all the time.
It even did under the bowl.
Yep. And that's just a Roomba. I mean, that's just a Roomba for a public bathroom. It's not even a complicated AI model.
Wow. But it looks like it's doing the same toilet over and over, but it's doing a new toilet each time.
And a new bathroom.
Look at that. Bam.
Just let this thing go. So if you own a janitorial service, gone are the day of hiring teenagers to come in and scrub toilets for you.
Yeah, you just got to finance one of these.
It's probably 15 grand, which is less than the minimum wage for a year for someone. And guess what? It can work all night long, clean all those bathrooms. Rooms, services in a hotel. You don't think a robot can make a bed?
Oh, boy.
You don't think a robot can pick up towels out of a bathroom floor? You don't think a robot can pick strawberries?
Oh, boy.
You don't think a robot can, create? What's funny is like how many of the songs in the Billboard top whatever are AI generated. There's actually a platinum album that's not a person. Okay? Yes, AI is coming. As our longtime listener, John has told us many, many times. Right? Now, AI not only does it have the ability to wipe out your jobs, it could also provide you with new opportunities. It's going to tie in technology like we've never seen. This is a leak. This picture right here is an accidental leak. This is a Israeli intelligence leak. And if you look in the background here, what this is they've done one of those 0-day hacks on a cell phone. So here's some type of cell phone number. And what they're able to do is they're able to click to hack. They can intercept the calls. Here's all the apps: WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Line, Snapchat. These are all their apps. They can just go right into them. They've got their messaging log, and they're able to browse their messages from some computer thing. This was an accidental, some type of photo leak with this in the background. This is what Israel's doing to spy on journalists and spy on people. And I guarantee you the cartels have this and the United States government has this. Yeah. This goes along with the Pegasus hack, which is why Whitney Webb has told us, tying things back into Epstein, my feeling is now that it is safe to release the info that Epstein was really a sex trafficker as a side gig and was mainly an intelligence asset of Israel and the U.S., a big-time financial criminal on behalf of a transnational capital, I would argue transnational organized crime disguised as transnational capital. That's the Catherine Austin Fitts model, and an arms trader because the people he was helping have stolen so much of America's wealth and have taken control over so much of the government. This is why even admitting the true breadth of the scandal and operation doesn't even seem to move the needle. Criminals are in charge, and they run both parties. Mm-hmm. They have created the infrastructure for neo-feudalism enforced by technology and are herding us into the corral. Opt out of AI, digital ID, and the surveillance state that the Epstein associates built now while we still can. Tonight at 1776live.us, I do my Ignite presentation. I introduce people to a community where we recognize that you're not really just going to be able to go and be an Amish farmer. That, you might have wealth, but you don't have money. And the way we interact with this future matrix, the only safe way to do it is through trust. That's the only safe way to do it. Because otherwise you become the collateral. You become the chattel that is bonded. And there's a better way to do it that will insulate you. And it's the same thing that even Jeffrey Epstein was doing, right? There's one way to do it. I invite everybody to take a listen at our Ignite presentation this afternoon. You can go to 1776live.us and you can register. Elections matter. Who runs this place matters. Thune has now co-sponsored the Save America Act, and he says he'll bring it to the floor. It right now has 45 votes in favor in the Senate. So we need to get that extra 5 votes, and then J.D. Vance can be the vote flipper.
Be voting in American elections. The answer is no. And the Democrats have taken a hard position that it's okay. Now, the law already prevents that, but if that's true, then why wouldn't we want to put into law something that would require when you go to vote that you prove you're a United States citizen? And that's all the SAVE Act does. And so, they can cry and lament this actually being voted on, but I'd be hard-pressed to have to defend a position that doesn't believe that you have to be an American citizen to vote in an American election.
I'll finish off with the words of Speaker Mike Johnson defending the SAVE Act. This is from yesterday, Leader Thune. Listen.
The SAVE Act just simply says you have to have verification of citizenship to register to vote. That's about a 90-10 issue on many of the polls in this country. And we're going to enhance it by what the president calls the Save America Act. And so it would be proof of citizenship to register to vote and voter ID, which is also about an 80 or 90% issue on the polling nationwide.
Nothing going on Capitol Hill these days. The Leader Thune, I'll give you a final thought on all of it.
Well, I honestly, this right now, their political base is demanding they fight with anything that President Trump wants. It is Trump derangement syndrome. It is on steroids around here these days. And even logical, commonsensical things like ensuring that if you're going to vote in an American election, you ought to be an American citizen, they're going to just instinctively oppose. So that's what we're up against. But we're going to do our best in spite of that to make sure that our government is funded and that we're putting policies in place that keep the American people safer and more prosperous.
To be clear, Leader, it does sound like you're saying that what you're describing as Trump derangement syndrome is at the highest you've seen it. So my last question to you is just, do you truly believe that the party, Democrats, would stand for a complete shutdown of DHS?
I think it's going to be very hard to defend.
So one of the things that they're telling Chuck Schumer, the Democrats, is that anybody who funds ICE or votes for the Save America Act, if you're a Democrat, it's all out war. Like, they will punish you. And so a lot of Democrats are afraid of their own party. Their constituents are calling in saying, hey, I think the Save America Act is probably a good idea. And they're like, I have to defund ICE. Tough stuff. All right, guys, we have reached the point where we want to jump over into private. I got a lot of show left, so we're probably going to eat up some private time, which is great because it's a short month this month. And so join us over on private. You have to be a subscriber to Rumble in order to do that, a premium member, and it's a great show over there. We're going to be talking some more election stuff. We're going to be hearing from Chip Roy on exactly what the plan is to get the Save America Pass Act. We're going to be talking about Tacoma. Did you know Katie Wilson hired Antifa to act as her personal bodyguard yesterday?
What?
Yeah. She's got Trantifa guarding her. Okay, we're going to hear from Eric Prince about an upcoming civil war that's kinetic in the United States over the Islam issue, specifically down in Texas.
Ooh.
And then we're going to be talking some economy, hot job numbers, hot stuff. And we're going to be talking about vaccines. So it's a good one. And we're going to start out, because some of you are just going to listen to the beginning because I know how it goes. We're going to start out debunking another Black History Month thing. The Tuskegee Airmen. If you want to know the truth, join us in the private. All right. We'll see you in the private. Thank you so much for joining us today. And also, don't quite hit it yet, Ron. Just so you know, if you must, the private broadcast carries over onto the audio. So if you go to Spotify or Apple Podcast or your favorite podcast app and download the show, you can get the premium portion there. But please download the entire library. I mean, you can delete it after you download it, but we get credit for the downloads. So go in there and download a bunch of episodes and you can get the private there in audio. All right.
I'll just say while we're at it, go ahead and share the show with your Midwest friends.
Yeah. Share the show with your Midwest friends. Everybody. Share the show with everybody. Okay. I don't care if they're in the Midwest. We have quite a few international listeners. We've got someone in South Korea that tunes in every day. Obviously, we have our England contingency. Israel checks in every now and then.
I know. I was just thinking this morning, like, we should just do a regional boost every day.
Yeah. If you live in Missouri, share the show.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow or in private or on audio. Okay, so let's debunk some more Black History Month. I actually am really enjoying this guy's stuff because I'm a truther. I just want to know the truth. Listen, I'll totally